All right. Well, you say the tape's ready. They're still in game 1.
Well, this is the tape part. We'll try to catch up with them.
We're going to we need to slow this down because we're going to catch up in about 5 minutes. And then I guess we don't need to slow down. That's fine.
No, never slow it down.
Never slow it down.
We should be watching at about 4x speed. So
both players here, 8 Moxes, right? Or I guess there's probably an 8 Mox on Peter Ingram's side. He's not playing the...
No Ambers.
Yeah, no Ambers.
Just Opals.
Collins Mullen's deck, very artifact heavy. Emery was a boon to this archetype. Kethis just has a lot going on, as far as like different types of things going on, because you got some artifact stuff happening, got graveyard stuff happening. Grinding Station can allow for some crazy turn 1 kills sometimes,
So Mullen's setting up with an Emery. It's now an Elk, though, because we're getting a look at Ingram playing one of these Oko games. Doesn't have any blockers, so this Elk can go to work on the Oko.
Yeah, but that's not really how the Kethis combo deck works. It doesn't really beat down. So turning into a 3/3 Elk is just what the doctor ordered for Ingram.
Yeah, at least turn off the combo and value potential.
I love the ability to turn Darksteel Citadel into a 3/3. Just going to say that. Just going to throw that one out there.
Yeah, that works a little differently, doesn't it? Indestructible is some weird property, or did they change that?
I don't think... I think indestructible is a keyword now.
Okay.
But who knows?
There's no way of knowing.
Can I'm just going to have to... Judge!
I thought that's what you were alluding to.
Should I call a judge right now? Just raise my hand, call a judge, see if they'll bring one over?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna bring an actual judge over here. Judge!
Well, it's an Elk. Well, Astrolabe has been turned into an Elk, rather.
All right, I'm gonna need you to come close. I'm gonna ask you a judge question.
All right.
Oko turns artifacts or creatures into 3/3s, okay?
Yes.
What happens if you target a Darksteel Citadel? Because I know that at some point, Indestructible was a weird property that never went away. Oh, he's getting out the phone.
Here comes the phone.
He's getting out the phone. All right, you talk about what's happening. I'm waiting on the phone.
Elks engaging in combat. So Ingram turned an Astrolabe into an Elk. He was able to block Mullen's Emery Elk.
Great.
You're basically caught up. A lot of tire spinning otherwise.
He loses indestructibility.
Loses Indestructible. It's no longer a thing that sticks around forever like a weird property.
So
Because it does say lose all abilities, and maybe Indestructible is technically an ability.
You were excited just because the land is able to be turned into
Yes.
a 3/3? All right, that's fair.
Because we don't have Seed of Synod or whatever,
True.
I don't care about Indestructible. It's a 3/3. Big deal.
I would argue it's pretty important to try to make a 3/3 Indestructible in the Lightning Bolt format, but
I don't
know. I don't know. Ooh. There's that there's a blue legendary land for Collins.
That's
Mullen.
Manamo, School of Water's Edge.
Yeah.
That's the one that untaps Legends.
I was confused. For some reason, I thought that Oboro was called Manamo.
No, it's Palace of the Clouds.
Yeah. It's a different one.
There's also one that's not in his deck, the one that enters the battlefield tapped and can store up a Time Walk. Do you remember what that one's called?
Magosi.
Yeah, the Water's Veil.
That's from Zendikar.
Yeah. These from Kamigawa. There's Shizo, Death Storehouse, Manamo, School of Water's Edge, Boro Palace in the Clouds.
There is a stark contrast between the Time Walk land and current designs. That card is unbreakable. It is templated in a way so that you cannot possibly generate meaningful value off of it.
Disagree.
Yeah.
Planeswalkers break it, I think. Generally speaking, if your opponent says go, you can be like, okay, take another turn. And if they just say go again, you untap, Planeswalker, tick up, activate, Planeswalker, tick up.
Your contention is that you control Planeswalkers and your opponent's doing nothing, you need help?
Well, you get to freely untap with a Planeswalker is what I'm saying. It's actually normally very hard in Modern to untap with a Planeswalker because of the speed of the decks and the amount of interaction is usually a bit overwhelming at times. But if you have the Time Walk.
Okay. So you're saying you give them a turn on an earlier turn, then you
Right.
Planeswalker and then Time Walk immediately.
It doesn't even have to be an earlier turn. It could just be when both of you are basically resource even and there's no real threats on the battlefield. You just say, okay, I'll give you an extra turn. And then, you cast Tarmogoyf? Okay.
The game you're describing suggests to me that you're living in a fantasy world.
I'm living in a post-Urza ban world, which is what I basically have had to do in my own brain for my own sanity.
Fair enough.
For the last
It's a
month.
it's a coping mechanism.
Yeah. So, I mean, things are happening. None of this, it doesn't matter. None of this matters.
Yeah. The Oko's at 5. Ingram's got some food. He's got a Thopter Foundry.
It's complete nonsense.
Mullen's got another Embry going, so trying to set up a combo. Here's Kethis. So now he can start going to work with that graveyard. Not seeing a grinding station just yet, though.
No, but can generate some extra mana. I think gonna probably try to wait till next turn. Gonna look for a grinding station off of the draw step, or I don't know. This deck's weird.
Well, he's already got one Emery in the graveyard, right? So he can just, if he has 2 other legends, which he should, there's an Iganjo there, probably some
There
other
it is.
legend.
Yeah, you figured it out. See, I didn't know.
The white legendary land? Yeah. Used to be played in Modern with Geist of Saiyan Traft a decent amount.
Oh, man, you get to untap Emery with Manamo. That's awesome, actually.
Yeah. If it weren't an elk.
If it weren't an elk.
Which it is now.
I think it's actually a legendary elk. Because I'm pretty sure it keeps super
Maintains
types.
the name.
Name and super types.
Yeah.
And,
Get that judge back.
Judge!
Get that judge back.
Oh, man. Eric, don't tell the elk.
Right, Kethis beatdowns.
Yeah, I mean, when you turn all your opponent's stuff into 3/3s, they're going to start turning sideways eventually. But Pete here that has, some amount of defense with the Thopter, can make another Thopter by sacking the Astrolabe. I have confirmed with Dur Rob. She's still legendary. I know. I knew that. I'm very smart.
All right, so here's the Emery, and now we're seeing it in action. Elk goes away.
Now, do you have a Sahili to give it haste, make a new one and give it haste? The answer is no.
There's a grinding station in the graveyard milled off of that Emery.
Yeah, but the problem...
Seeing a separation of legends in the bin.
Yeah, you don't get to cast the grinding station at the graveyard, right? You can only cast legendaries.
Yeah, correct. You need to get the Emery going.
All right, well... Here comes another Emery. Let's mill 4 more. And that kills the one in play. So... if he can kind of use Emery as a self-mill, which is really cool. He is only paying 1 right now, but that's because of the reduction on Kethis and the reduction on the affinity for artifacts from it. FYI, in case people were at home like, oh, he ain't paying enough. It's like, I mean, you're kind of right. I mean, as far as design is concerned. But
I'm going to start watching more tournaments at home and just going on Twitch chat with that exact comment. He ain't paying enough.
Hope a gear per is free. Just like this game of Magic that we're watching. This is free. You don't have to pay anything to watch this.
Nah.
What?
The way that the Kethis combo deck ultimately wins, you see just flipped over there, Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. So you run yourself out of cards, activate the Jace, draw a card with no cards in library. It has that Laboratory Maniac static ability.
Right, but much like, oh man, this is awesome. I actually just didn't realize that the Emery could recur over and over again to continually self-mill for 4. That's genius. This is actually like making me interested in the deck now, honestly. So, what was I saying? I don't even remember.
The Emery can...
Emery self-mills, yada yada.
Mill for 4, you can cast it from your graveyard. So you just keep casting Emeralds out of your bin. That's what Mullen's been able to do. Flipping over enough legendary creatures to continuously make him able to cast these Emerys from his graveyard.
What I was going to say is that, yes, the self-mill thing is how you combo kill with this deck. And if your Emery is able to survive long enough, you can find the grinding station. You do a lot of really busted stuff, right? But... you can also just win with Psy Master Thopters and a bunch of tokens. Much like all the Urza decks that we see, they can just win the game in a fair fashion against decks that aren't combo killing them. And while Pete Ingram's Sultai Urza deck does potentially combo kill you with Urza Thopter Sword, that is not the draw he had. He had a very interactive draw this game with Oko and a bunch of random interaction, and now Collins here is just valuing him out of the game.
Gotta say, Oko did not look impressive here.
It did shut down the Emerys for a while. I think what really happened is that Kethis got to untap. And Kethis untapping, as we've seen in Standard, is, as I like to say, no-brainers. It's just no-brainers.
I'm starting to think. I'm starting to think that these Moxen cards
might be a little good.
I think that they're pretty good.
You know, when they made Mox Amber, everyone was just like, "Oh yeah, you have to control a legendary permanent." And then they made like 40 planeswalkers that cost 3 mana. Like, what are you doing?
I mean, I was pretty convinced that Mox Amber was just going to have a time if there was enough 1 and 2 mana legendary creatures, that sort of thing.
Isamaru Hound of Kanda.
Yeah, like,
MVP.
That deck was already almost there, you know? Like, you could reasonably play like a white-red legendary creature shell.
Yeah, what was the red mana, 1 mana 2/2?
Zurgo?
Zurgo, yeah, Bell Striker, right?
Kithian.
Yeah.
So, like, there's already a lot to like, just like that kind of beatdown deck with extra mana. But then they printed this Kethis card, which just had a standard legal combo, and then they added Emry to the mix here. So you got this little 8 mock strategy going on.
And not only do you have the Emrys, you also get, you know, Psy Masterptopterus and Grinding Station. Grinding Station is actually a huge deal in this deck because you get to play that over, Diligent Excavator was the one in Standard. Like, you know, the super slow mill. This one just like every time you bring something back, you get to float a mana with a Mox and sacrifice it and mill yourself for 3 more. I mean, we saw Emry doing basically the same thing for 1 mana at a time. A Grinding Station does it for free.
Right.
And I think that that's a huge deal for the deck. It's an enabler. It's a win condition. What else can you ask for, you know?
Sort of a perpetual motion device.
Yeah, we've already seen Grinding Station in the hands of Autumnbird Chat this weekend do a bit of work with Urza, Lord High Artificer, acting as a mana battery because it just untaps every time you get an artifact. I don't know. Modern right now is wild.
A lot going on. Looks like both players were on 7 for game number 2.
But no Faithless Looting.
No Faithless Looting.
None to be seen.
Forget about that. No Bridge from Below either.
Yeah. Now Hogak, that's a good ban. Hogak's a good ban.
I agree with the looting ban. This got to ban more stuff.
Wow. Collins Mullen with the draw discard on turn 1. The rarely seen cleanup graveyard enabler. And he has Unearth in hand, so he was definitely looking to kind of go off here. Needed to put the Kethis in the graveyard, I guess, to get it into play cheaply with the Unearth.
Pretty sneaky.
Yeah. Bold strategy, Cotton.
Ingram's draw looking quite a bit better this game.
Oh, yeah. Turn
Pentad,
3
Prism, and Urza. Prism Urza's busted.
True dat.
Get to tap it for mana now. See if he can assemble a fast combo of his own. There's the Thopter Foundry.
All right, now all he needs is Sword of the Meek or a Word of Invention, and he gets to gain infinite life, play every card in his deck off of the Urza, or every spell in his deck off the Urza, plus 1 land. Mox Hammer, Mox Opal, Grinding Station. Don't know why that one was played third, but, you know, hell if I know. We're going to float a black. That's going to let him unearth the Kethis.
The Opal was sacrificed there. Grinding Station. Thinking about activating that again. Looks like there is a second Grinding Station in hand. Sacrifices the Amber, mills 3 more.
Would have liked to have seen an unearth first. I think Collins is almost definitely going to go for a Kethis this turn, and if he had just unearthed the Kethis first, he could have tapped the Amber for a black mana, so he missed out on a black mana. I'm curious if that's going to come back and bite him.
Well, Kethis has been unearthed now. See another Mox Amber makes a white mana. Grinding Station will mill him 3 more. And now you see him separating those legendary permanents versus the other cards in the graveyard.
Yeah, and so he has to exile 2 things. He's going to exile the... I thought he was going to exile the Pendlehaven and the other Kethis. And that way he could play all the Moxen. Every time he gets to play Moxen, he gets to untap the Grinding Station.
He had redundant Mox Ambers, which is kind of a consideration.
Well, every time you play the Mox Amber, you trigger the Grinding Station, sacrifice it while floating a mana. So you just miss on a free mill 3. At the exchange, though, you get a Kethis still in the graveyard that you can cast, which I don't know if... you know, I am not overly familiar with this deck, so I don't want to pretend like I'm a genius or whatever, right? Like, Collins has a lot more experience with this archetype than me, and there's probably a very good reason why he kept the Kethis around in the graveyard after the activated ability of Kethis.
The thought that I had is maybe he's somehow concerned about Ingram using that Pentad Prism to dismember the first Kethis.
Yep, sure. That's more than fair, because I actually just forgot the Pentad Prism was there.
Right.
Because I've been so enthralled by this turn.
Yeah, Mullen milling a lot of cards already. Yeah, kind of two unique engines being shown off in this Kethis deck. Emery really won off in the first game, and now you're seeing Grinding Station do its thing.
Yeah, and we're actually live now. We've caught up, so now instead of going at a reasonable pace, we're back to the tanking and the Glavens.
The tanking and the Glavens.
All right, well, we're going to float a blue and then sacrifice it, mill some more. It's not quite deterministic yet, but it is very close. The Collins is going to be able to mill his whole graveyard, activate the Kethis, cast Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, draw a card, and win the game this turn.
I question the degree of certainty to which you claim this is not deterministic.
Sure, it might be deterministic. I'm just saying, you know, he does have lands in his deck, right? But I guess he has enough legends where it's probably deterministic.
Yeah, well, he keeps getting the Moxen back in the bin.
Right, the Moxen keep going back in the bin, that's fair.
There's a nice stack of legends there set aside to be exiled to the Kethis. And now Emery has joined the party.
Yeah, and if he finds backup Emery, every blue mana lets him mill 4, so he has a lot of free mills here. You're really seeing the strength of Grinding Station and Emery here. And again, this is turn... this is turn 3, and he missed a land drop on turn 1 on purpose.
So if you weren't playing during original Mirrodin block, Grinding Station is part of a 4-card sort of series of cards. They're all called something station. It's referred to as the Great Machine. Ooh. The idea was if you assembled all 4 of the stations and a 1-mana non-creature artifact, there was a series of actions where you would win the game on the spot, generate infinite value in several different ways. What you actually end up seeing now, 15 years later, is 1 station showing up and being part of this other infinite combo.
It's the Great Machine.
Yeah, the Great Grinding Station Machine.
The Great Grinding Station Machine. Turn everything into useful product.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm not a math scientist.
And now we see the Jace, Wielder of Mysteries hitting the graveyard. A lot of blue mana floating for Mullen, and Ingram confirms that the Jace